Welcome to another episode of URC Chumps. I've got Jacques here. Unfortunately, Darraghs not with us. He has had a passing of a family member, which I will put up a picture shortly, and we will have a quick moment of silence for his uncle that has recently passed away. All right. All the best to Dara and his family in this time that they're going through. He has stepped away for a short period of time, but as soon as he feels up to it, we shall be welcoming him back with open arms. So if you don't see him, like he has posted on our groups and everything, why he's not around, please understand. If you know him personally, reach out to him. Uh, yeah. So we missed last week because it was Christmas and New Year's. How was that for you, Jacques?
Well, I went to see my parents in the middle of the Karoo for the first time in a year. And on my second day, I just thought to myself, what the hell why was it such a big deal, besides my parents, to go back there? Because there's absolutely nothing. The nothing grows this high. But all in all, it was a good weekend. A good weekend, a good holiday. I needed the rest. And here we are back at it, doing what we
Yes.
love. Sad going
Yeah.
into the year with a loss, but it's okay. It's no problem.
I don't know
Yeah,
what you're talking about. I don't know what you're talking about.
I'm just not gonna say
Bonus
anything.
points. Bonus point win. Um, yeah. So unfortunately I didn't follow the Munster Leinster game as much because I was hoping Dara, but I see it was a bit much a walkover from Leinster.
Yeah.
Edinburgh and Glasgow were pretty close. That looked like it was a bit back and forth, and then finally Edinburgh pipping it with a penalty. I think it was a penalty. Was it a
Mm,
yeah.
something.
Uh just looking at it quickly. Penalty try. That was the 7, then 3, 8, 10. Yeah. So uh Zebra Benetton. Zebra once again falling to Benetton. A
No
game that
surprise.
yeah, a game I do think we need to talk about. I know you don't want to harp on it too much. Due to some of the controversies and some of the laws that had to be explained, luckily, a fellow TikToker, Uncle Fester, did his analysis of it, which actually broke it down. I first had thought Jean-Luc Duplessis got off a little bit lucky, but after Fester had broken it down, it made sense on why it was only just a penalty and not a card because I was actually a bit concerned that we were probably going to be down at that stage.
Mm.
Um, he then also there was that Yankees knock from who was I think was it Fenter or uh on the wing, and I was a bit like, okay, is that not leading? And he explained no, the elbow was at this height. The fact that he came down for the tackle and it
Yeah.
was just a rugby incident. So, I mean, watching it, I thought it was a bit controversial, but then hearing someone who's very neutral break it down actually did make it seem like, okay, cool. Uh, there was nothing wrong with it. It was just bad coming in at a point. If he had, I think the one thing is I hear most of the commentators say is the hand, the position of your hand. So if the back of your hand is facing the player, it means leaning with the shoulder. If the front of your hand is facing the plate, it means you're trying to wrap. And because it came in
Yeah.
a bit low, also the fact that it hit him on the shoulder, it wasn't on the head, didn't go for the knees. It was already low, so that was also a mitigating factor. But it wasn't the prettiest of games for either side. I mean, the fact that we got sales sharks, and I'm so disappointed I didn't buy tickets because now I see both Curry brothers are playing. I would
Is it
so
is
love
it
to.
sold out already?
I'm not too sure. Apparently, the one stand, the family stand or the party stand's been prices have been reduced, so that's good. I
Go.
might just
Is it time to
yeah,
go?
yes. I will see what the missus says. Maybe I'll take my daughter. Um. So yeah, I see Toulouse has been also talking about your guys, but we'll get to that later. Connacht went down to Ulster, 17-7 to Ulster there. So close to your draw that you've been calling all season. Just one try on either side. 13
I'm
all
waiting for it.
Cardiff, 13 all Cardiff Ospreys. Um, and then the Scarlets coming home quite comfortably against the Dragons, 32-15.
That's a good score.
Yeah. So I mean, there were some close scores. There were some scores that literally looked like one team ran away with the game. There was the ones that we thought were controversial, but like as I said, when it got explained and broken down, it actually made
Mm.
sense of how the calls were actually made and made me go like, okay, cool. And I actually quite like in the game, you as a supporter, you busy go like, no, that's wrong, that's wrong, that's wrong. But then you hear someone else afterwards who's completely neutral break it down. You're like,
Yeah.
ah, I didn't think about that. Like there was that hit on the Yankees. I'm like, surely that was leading, and then I was like, okay, cool, maybe it was coming down. And then hearing Fester go like, no, elbow wasn't up towards the player; it was actually a bit down, and he went into the
Mm.
elbow. So it was just a rugby incident, as some
A rugby collision.
a rugby collision. My bad. I do apologize. Oh, that's why I'm not seeing anything. Uh, this rugby, hopefully Super Sport's working at the moment. No, it's not. Super Sport, if anybody from Super Sport app would sort out your app. It's disgraceful. Uh yeah, let's just see. Does clear score actually show me? So let's go European Rugby Championship. So we start off on the 10th, which is tomorrow. Glasgow versus Racing. Now, I've heard there's some very controversial things about Farrell going around at the moment. I didn't quite read into it. I missed the article and I couldn't find it again. But it seems like he's going to be on the move again.
Again.
Yeah. Now, I don't know if that means there's issues in the Racing camp,
Most probably.
but yeah, I mean, we heard what the owner said about Sear, the fact that he's getting fat or something like that, and then he comes back for the Springboks. It doesn't even look like he's picked up weight. But anyway, I do know some of the French clubs are maybe a bit, how can I say? Sorry, are a bit harsh on the players and expect higher things. And when they're paying you a certain amount, they expect you to be beyond a certain amount. You know that whole thing of if I pay you for X, I want you to do Y and Z as well. But yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
then we got, and that's at 10 o'clock South African time. Then at 3 o'clock South African time on Saturday is Sharks versus Stormers coming to Cape Town. Tom Curry, the first time he's going to be playing in Cape Town since
Mm.
the incident in the 2023 final. Um, That's going to be quite interesting, especially with a lot of the players coming from the Stormers setup and South Africa.
It will be, which I don't know how many South Africans is in the team.
I think, as far as I counted out the starting six.
It's gonna make it interesting. It's always this little home derby when it comes to the South Africans playing the South Africans when some of them are playing for the overseas clubs, which is always a interesting thing.
Yeah. So I mean that
But I
is
think
actually quite
all
interesting.
three the Priya brothers are playing, right?
It looks like only two of them at the moment, though.
Two starting and one on the bench.
Yeah, I'm going to confirm that. I'm actually just trying to look up. So here we go. Sale Sharks starting lineup: Bevan Rod, Luke Cowan Dickey, Asher Opaku Forger, Ernest Van Ryn, number one, Johnny Hill, Tom Curry, Ben Curry, Jean-Luc Dupré, Rafi Kirk, Tom Curtis, Tom O'Flattery, Luke James, Rob Dupré, Tom Roebuck, Joe Carpenter, and then on the bench is Ethan Kane, Steve McIntyre, Vel, what was it, McIntyre or yeah, Velcroft John, Josh Beaumont, Dan Dupree, Sam Dougal, Gus War, and Sam Bedlow.
It's going to be interesting. I'd like to see because I know that what's the fly of Dan Dupree, right?
Yeah, but he's playing inside center.
He moved to centre. I'd like to see that. I'll, it's going to be interesting to see that.
But what's funny is I'm looking at a thing now with the players that play for Sale Sharks. So it's Nick Schoonert, but he's not playing. LaRue Roots not playing. Iron Andrews, that's a name you should remember. Ernest Van Ryn playing. Dan Dupree playing. Jean-Luc Dupree playing. Sorry, my dogs are going crazy with the birds. So yeah, I mean that is going to be an interesting game. Dan Dupree, Rob Dupree, sorry, being
Rob Dupree.
Rob Dupree being a Stormers hero at some point, especially beating his dad, who was the coach of the Sharks in the Currie Cup final, along with his twin brothers playing against him. And I mean, I met them before they looked like absolute tanks. I mean, I was looking at a picture of when I met them years ago compared to now. They've bulked since then, but I mean, they were still like in their early 20s when I met them. So, I mean, yeah. Then moving on to the rest of the games. Let's see. Here we go. Sharks versus Toulouse. A very exciting game on the basis that Toulouse is not taking this game lightly.
Correct. I saw they packed the team.
Intermac and DuPont. And this is when I'm going to give DuPont his due. With him and Intermac at that half-back pairing, Sharks are going to be in trouble. If they cannot control it, they are going to be in trouble.
I agreed. I haven't seen the Sharks team as yet.
I haven't either, but I heard Etzebeth is back along with In fact, I haven't even seen the Stormers team because I know Evan Roos is back. I think unless I've missed the announcements,
Let's see.
posts. Let's just see. Have I? Yeah. So I mean, we're looking at a very thrilling game coming up. I'll just quickly good old Google. Stormers lineup versus Sharks. Go 28, 2024. Yo, that's an old. I don't understand Google. DHL's Stormers team versus Sharks and out. Fullback Joe Peterson. I was just like, dude, that is so like. No, I only see for the Sharks game, so it doesn't look like it's been released properly yet. Here we go. All right, so the team starting is Ali for Mark, Joseph Dweber, Netleng for sure, but I still think is one of the most underrated props in South Africa right now. The fact that he can play one
Again,
and three.
me and the Highlanders head coach here, Uncle Swanee, spoke about the exact same thing yesterday before we had our coaches meeting. He is a very underrated player, and I think they should give him a go this year. They have
I
to.
mean, he did. He was controlling Oxnoche, who right now is rated as one of the best scrummagers, and he was able to put Noche backwards. Um,
100%.
I don't know. I don't know if maybe he is on the radar, but we'll have to see for the next coming up. Um, why does it say Earth Fun Rain here? Let me just see. No, sorry, this is 2 years ago. It looks like a very good team. Because Ernst van Ryn's in the team. So is Dion Faria, Ruben Ferrier, Ben J. Dixon, Marcel Tennyson, Paul David, Marnie Libok, Sanatla, Dan Duplessis, Ruan, Angelo, and Clayton Blomekes. Which, looking at the team, is not bad. And 2 years ago, going up against the Sharks was JJ Kotze off the bench with Brock Harrison, Sazi Sandi, Connor Evans, Willie Engelbrecht, Herschel Yankees, Sasha Feinberg, and Hartzenberg. Which, if that was the team last, well, yeah. Oh, here we go. Here's one from 6 hours ago. Let's see. Is the team on? No, still no team. Yeah, so I don't see any team announcements as of yet from this.
Maybe only tomorrow.
Yeah, I think that they're testing on a few players. I know there's talk about either resting Sasha or playing him. So I think that's got to see how, because apparently he did hurt his collarbone. It wasn't fractured, but it was just a bit out of place. But anyway, we'll have to see what happens. But yeah, but getting back to the Netlink for sure discussion.
No, he's a good player.
He is. I still love the story that I heard him say. So his wife, father
Father's a Blue Bull supporter.
no,
Oh,
province
was it a
supporter.
Stormer? Oh.
Yeah, but anyway, but he started his career up at the Bulls. And when his girlfriend or wife introduced him, the father refused to talk to him until he put on a Stormers jersey. And it's like, how's it, my boy?
I remember that story. And look at him now.
Integral part of the Stormers team and everything like that. So yeah. But yeah, then I am a bit concerned for the Sharks, the South African Sharks against Toulouse. I mean that is going to be a hectic Ox and Koch would be my starting choice with Richardson.
Mhm.
Yeah, because you're gonna have to come in strong. I mean, that Toulouse team is not a team you can take lightly.
Yeah, true. Now they're gonna have to bring on the big guns from the beginning, from the get go.
Yeah. Then we got Exeter and Bordeaux Beagles playing at the same time. I do think because Exeter is going to at home, it's going to be an Exeter game against them.
Both teams
Um,
are down here for me, but I'll go for a draw.
20 all.
Let's change it up a bit and let's make it 19 all.
19. Oh, okay. Whoa. All right. Uh, then we got Munster versus Saracens. I want Munster to destroy Saracens.
Yeah, me too.
Sorry if you listen to this. We are on your side.
For a change.
Um, and then at the same time as that game, uh, Paris is playing against Northampton at Paris.
I think that's also a tight game, same as the Exeter Bordeaux teams. I think they fairly in the same league.
In the same league, but you're playing in Paris, home ground for
Yeah,
the French team. I'm going to go with them because you got like 10 other people on the field when you play at home with them.
yeah, it's true.
Um, and then the late games, which is Leicester versus Ulster and Castres versus Bull.
I think Bulls will probably take it. Oh, by the way, my girlfriend says Happy New Year to all of you guys.
Thank you. Um,
I'm, I must go with Bulls. I don't think that what's it Castre's got the. I don't think they've got the physicality that the Bulls got.
yeah, but
I
don't
don't
forget
think they can
they
match.
have blown up. But luckily, they've had a week off, so yeah, I might go Bulls as well. Also, a lot of the players playing there have also played overseas on a regular basis, so it's going to be second
Yeah,
nature for them. And then Toulon versus Harlequins. I want
I'll go
Toulon
for
to win.
Toulon.
Yeah, I want
Yeah.
I want someone to smack the smile off Smith's face. Uh, yeah. Then we've also got a very interesting roundup also on Saturday. La Rochelle versus Leinster.
That can actually be a very, very close game or very tight game.
Leinster's probably going to want to come back and show them that they can beat them. Luckily, Johnny Sexton
Definitely.
isn't there to shout at the referee and tell them they're an effing disgrace. Maybe, Johnny, if you kept your fitness up, you would have been able to play the game. Then no one would have been making fun of you about your retirement. Anyway, Bears versus Benetton. Bristol Bears are going to win that one. Bath versus Clermont.
Clermont.
Yeah, I was about to say that is probably the way I'm also going to go. We'll leave that one for now, and then we'll go to the next. No, wrong button. The Challenge Cup, which is tomorrow. Gloucester versus Scarlets. I'm gonna go with Gloucester.
Definitely.
We're gonna go through this quickly and give our Perpignan versus Cardiff. I think I'm gonna go Cardiff because they've been
Mhm.
the icon of Wales right now. Venice versus Edinburgh. I'm gonna go Edinburgh because they got more South Africans on their team. Black Lion versus Bayonne. I'm actually gonna go Bayonne.
Yeah.
Montpellier versus Lions. Montpellier's at home. Montpellier has experience over young things. As much as this is probably going to pain me to say this, and I would want them to the other team to win, but I'm going to say Montpellier is going to win that game
Yeah, I also think so. I don't think the Lions are.
at their class yet.
No, they're definitely not. They're way too young. The no Montpellier to win. Sorry,
Now,
Umkhara.
yeah. Now, what people also need to understand is we're not breaking down the Lions. They have been doing phenomenal
Not at
things
all.
this season. Um, they right now are on the correct path to
Oh yes.
greatness. They're going to become dangerous like they were back in the early 90s here in South Africa. But Montpellier is definitely going to take it. Then we got Ospreys versus Newcastle. Now,
Newcastle.
Newcastle. Now, I was listening to our fellow other podcasters from the Black Feather podcast. It seems like the Osprey supporters are on a bit of a, how can I say, they're just finding the negativity. They're not claiming the positivity.
That's never a good thing. That's not a good thing. When your
That
supporters, yeah, that's then the Ospreys need to pull some finger.
Yeah, I agree. I do think that the way that they're playing now could actually push them further up the log. I don't know if it's the right time now for the Challenge Cup. I think
Mm.
that discussion that has been spoken about here in South Africa, where South African teams either need to choose the European Cup or the URC. They can't do both because we don't have the depth of the other teams, and our travel is a little bit more hectic in that regards. But yeah.
Yeah.
Then we've also got Connacht versus Leon. I'm gonna go with Connacht. Cheetahs versus Zebra. I'm gonna have to go Cheetahs
Where they
against
playing?
Zebra. Cheetahs are the
Where?
home team.
Ah, so they're playing what? Amsterdam.
I'm trying to see. I can't see here where
I
they're
think
playing.
their home base is in Netherlands, isn't it?
Yeah, but I'm gonna go with the Cheetahs winning that game.
But yeah,
It's against Zebra, and if the Cheetahs win,
me too.
no. Let's say when Cheetahs win, we can tell Dara even the Cheetahs can beat Zebra.
We can do that. We can do that.
So we want Cheetahs to win.
Yeah. We already said Munster's gonna win. Now we're gonna go against Zebra definitely.
Yeah. And then to end the weekend is Dragons versus Paliose. Dragons are at home, but Dragons are the whipping boys in rugby. So I'm gonna have to say it's gonna be the French side that's gonna have a away win.
Let's give it a draw, 21 all. Why not?
21. So we got one up. Now onto like news that has been happening. I see that whole Sia thing. It seems to be getting more traction. From what I've heard from the Stormers is the Stormers are putting their hands up and saying we are not approaching. If this is what's going to happen, Sia has to approach us, and an agreement has to be made between Sia and the Sharks.
Mm.
Um, I I think that is the right decision from Dobson and
Definitely.
the Stormers side. Someone of the class and the way he's playing right now is great to have Sia come back. Um, but I think the right decision was made in that press conference where they were like, okay, listen here. This is what's happening. Apparently, it's happening. We are stepping out. Our hands are clean. If this is what's
Yeah.
going to happen, a discussion has to be made, and they have to approach us for it. We are not chasing after it. So I think that is the right decision with something like that, especially with a guy at 33 as well. I mean, he's probably going to play one more World Cup and then he's done. Which is also going to
If
make
he's going
me,
to make another World Cup.
if he makes another World Cup, but I'm also just thinking this whole thing with a lot of the South African players who are now in their 30s and going to be old at that stage.
Mm-hmm.
Rassie has shown the depth of South African rugby when it comes to talent and class. The fact that the guys who have come in
Oh,
aren't guys
definitely.
that they slot in perfectly. It's not like, oh, you have a B team. If you see our B team, you're like, oh, flip, this is still a strong team. Will World Rugby try and tie Russie's hands behind his back by saying, oh, no, you're only allowed, what is it, 32 or 42 players at a World Cup? Where Russie's like, ha, I've got 51 just in this past year that I'm going to use, and next year I'll probably be 52 if they all fit. Uh,
Even if they do try to tie his hands behind his back, you'll find a way to loosen the knot with his feet. He finds a way every single time.
I mean, like swapping out a hooker for a fly half. And
Correct?
everyone's like, but then you down the hooker. They're like, oh, but we got Dion Ferree, and then there's Van Staden who can also do hooker, and oh, we got Cheslin as well. uh, so I mean, yeah, and I mean, what against the game against Romania, he's like, okay, I have 4 scrum halves, all of you play.
Yeah, so I think he'll make a plan no matter what SA Rugby throws at him.
Or you mean World Rugby? SA Rugby's like,
World
yeah,
Rugby.
go for it.
Sorry, man.
World
World Rugby.
World Rugby's like, oh, you playing a silly trick. Oh, okay, cool. Next thing we also need to talk about, Hansen has officially been charged for misconduct. 6-week ban that's been reduced to 3, so you can be available for the Six Nations. I think that is a bit harsh.
Me too. I don't want to get into everything that I'm thinking. So I'm just gonna say it is too harsh. I think it's unnecessary.
Because it was an attack at one ref. He used a reference in the game to point out what they're talking about, but he has said it's been going on for a couple of games, so it wasn't just a
Correct.
oh you that. I still think maybe they should have just said, "Ah, okay, cool," and had a sit down. Maybe this is where they should have had a Zoom call or something
Mm.
with coaches and players and go, well, this is the thing. All right, we are going to talk. You can submit your questions to us in a video format or whatever like that, and we will then do a response video for you guys.
Yeah, agreed on
Uh,
that.
because the problem is you might just have someone from Leinster turning around to Connor going, you're just a bunch of losers, bro. No, you don't want that. So rather have a thing. This is what we want. This is what we would like for you. This is the format that we would like it to. Here's the template. Do what you will. Send it to us by this time. We'll have a chat. Hansen, no, I think they're using him as a bit of a like a poster boy now of like, yo, don't question us.
Yeah.
But look what's happening since Rassie did it, where Rassie like okay, Rassie's one was he was purposely naming the referees and everything, and the calls and the laws and everything like this. Um, But now we have guys like the likes of Uncle Fester who are coming out and actually reviewing the calls and rating the referees, which I think is great on an independent basis. I think that needs to be open up. I think that's something that World Rugby needs to look into. Is
Definitely.
how do people rate refs? Not not so much like, okay, I'm a Stormers player. I can't rate a ref in a Stormers game because I could be a bit biased and everything like that. But if I watch Sharks versus Lions, for instance, how do I rate the ref? If you watch Stormers versus Bulls, okay, you can't do that, but anyway, use it as reference. How was the referee in that game? I think World Rugby needs to open up that and get a panel to do it. Not so much in the sense of no, naughty, naughty refs. You missed that out. You missed that out because refs are going to have a
Yeah.
bad game, but you can kind of be like, okay, cool. Well, here's your ratings and everything like this. This is what the people are saying you need to concentrate more on the game. This is the part that everybody says you had perfect, like the way Fester says, like the
See,
communication on the field. Yeah,
the Revs do have those discussions. I'm not sure which day, but they do get together with their coach afterwards. And I don't know, I haven't spoken to Mornay or Griffin or Ben or to ask exactly how it works. If they sit and they go through the match together, maybe take it clip by clip and looking at positioning and something like that. I'm not 100% sure how it works, but I know that they do have a weekly discussion with their coaches to talk about their games. But I understand where you're coming from. The World Rugby must also have a panel
yeah,
to ensure that these biased mistakes. Okay, I'm using the word bias now, but the mistakes, whether it's both ways or only one way, they have to be addressed by someone else other than your coach, because your coach
yeah.
is there to keep you positive at all times, and he doesn't want to tell you, yeah, you did this and this and this and this wasn't right in your positioning and all. So it'll always be better to have a third party on the side
Independence.
telling you
Yeah,
this is what we saw.
yes. No, and I mean, but then let's just say you were on the left of the ruck when you're meant to be on the right of the ruck, and I called it, say, in my review, you
Mm.
should have been on the right. Then your coach could actually turn around and say, all right, cool. So there you had a good view, but this is why they're saying the rights and everything like this, and actually coach what the people are talking about, the legitimate things. I mean, I'm not saying go get every Tom, Dick, and Harry who's a couch potato to give their view on the game because they played it in primary school and they think they still know the rules up until the international level. I mean, like a proper panel of people. If it's a South African derby game, Ireland, England, Australia, or someone else watches that game and stuff like this and gives their like this. So if Gardner's not refereeing that game, he just sits on a Saturday morning, watches the game, or Sunday morning, watches the game, does his review. There we go. Boom, 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 boom. Done.
That's I think that's a brilliant idea.
Yeah. Which then also means if someone like Hansen has a query, they could be like, listen, this was actually brought up by the thing. We have now things like this. Queries like this don't have to be made public. That all of a sudden, World Rugby has to look like they're cleaning house and make things look squeaky clean. It's then like, okay, cool, Hansen, listen, that has been brought up. We will get back to you with a response this
Mm.
time. This is why we called this. This is this is why. Cool. Thank you very much. Move on.
And maybe have a session with all the players stating, listen, yeah, you must understand, because this was also a discussion that me and my head coach had, was I would like, when I was still refereeing in the Free State, I
Yeah.
said, I went to Griffin Colby's dad. He's the manager of the Free State Cheetahs. I said to him, listen, yeah, why can't we put into the budget when you go play a club game? You print 500 pamphlets that's got the rules, the laws on both sides, so that everybody that comes into the stadium, he pays £5, £10, whatever the tickets cost, and he gets a rule book with it. Now, all right, obviously you're playing in the higher leagues. The rules change a bit every now and again. But as soon as the laws change, you get somebody in and you say to them, listen here, this is how it's going to go. That's what I also said, I think it was 2 weeks ago, that they need to have a boot camp for all the referees before the URC starts and say, listen here, we understand that the Northern Hemisphere and the Southern Hemisphere is a bit different with the interpretation of the laws, but here, because of this, this is what we're going to do.
Yeah.
Just to make things easier for the players as well, stating, all right, this is how it's going to go. If this happens, this is how the law is going to be interpreted, and it's going to be easier for everybody. My thought.
No, I mean, I agree. I think there needs to be a bit more of an open talk. I do believe referees are shielded in the sense that we don't hear what's happening with behind the scenes as much unless you're in there.
Yeah.
I mean, there was an instance with the fact that one referee apparently got dropped to tier 2 because they weren't happy with the way he was doing TMO stuff. That was the first time I've ever heard a referee has been dropped like that, unless your name is Bryce Lawrence, and the fact for people's safety they don't have you on there because that guy got death threats.
Yeah, I did.
And it got to the point that even New Zealand rugby was like, we can't protect you. You need to go by yourself. Bye.
Life is difficult as a ref.
Yeah. I'm for the protection of the refs, but also at the same time, there needs to be this. There needs to be an open discussion probably on a Monday.
Mm.
Also with the panel going, all right, cool. What are your questions? This. All right, cool. Morning is this the home team, afternoon is away team, something like that. But yeah, it's gonna have to
I know for a fact that that happens on international level.
yeah.
Afterwards, I also think it's on a Tuesday or so, or maybe a Sunday morning, just after the game, where the coaches have the opportunity to talk to the ref.
No, I mean I like that idea to talk to the ref respectfully and everything like that. I mean I do understand if it was a very high intense game that there might be a bit of what to call it. That's why I'm all like, yeah. That's why I'm all for like, okay, cool. Let's have it on a Monday or so like that. Home team this time, away team this time. Uh, Everybody's at least a little bit more calmer. Seeing
Mm.
where they went wrong on a Sunday, unless the game's on a Sunday, then you do it on Tuesday. Um, but yeah, but that is a discussion that we can keep talking about until the cows come home.
True story.
Moving on to Toulouse, I see Toulouse, like we said earlier, are not holding back for this game. They are taking this game seriously against the Sharks.
It's going to be tight, and I'm really looking forward to it. Um, I'm a bit stressed. I'm a little bit nervous. I must say, but in the end, it's just a game. The best team will win. There has to be a winner. There has to be a loser, unless
It's a 20-all draw.
my draw gets there.
Yeah. But I've also seen a lot of players from North complaining about the fact that it looks like South Africa isn't taking this serious. I mean, unfortunately, with the Stormers, we've had some serious injuries and everything like this, which has kind of hindered us. They want to see the big names play against the big teams. But South Africa is also protecting. I mean, this is why I say a Northern Hemisphere team won't win the World Cup, because if you look at the schedule, it is hectic. It is insane how much rugby's been played. And now all of a sudden you need to pitch up internationally, and then you get the likes of France, who apparently are sending a D team to
New Zealand.
New Zealand because they wanting their players to play in the finals. Which, I mean, you look at it, you, it shows you how hectic it is because South Africa's journey at that stage, like, okay, cool, sit back. The guys who don't really play are playing in Curry Cup and all that, so it gives them a chance to at least get some game time.
Yeah.
Where as international, it's like, okay, cool, well, that's still happening, and international games of playing. Oh, you can literally finish a game on Sunday, be on the plane to go play the first game on Saturday, get dropped, and you're back and you're playing again in France. It's just insane.
Yeah, there is. I think that's one of the negative impacts that hit South African rugby, that we moved to the northern hemisphere. Obviously, rugby is a winter sport, so it's summer by us, it's winter up there. When it's winter down here, it's summer up there. So it is rugby whole year round, which never used to be. So I understand it's difficult. I know everybody needs rest, but you want your game time because you want match fees and earn as much as you possibly can. And. But we spoke about it a while back, where game management and player management is very important. So the northern hemisphere mustn't come with all the stories when it's regarding for they don't want us here because they're not playing against the best. But if the schedules are worked out properly and the management does the job correctly, then they could play against the best. But if it's
Yeah.
on the base team's resting time, ah, what the hell? Let them rest.
I mean I mean, I hate to be the one that goes like this, like, oh, we got 4 World Cups. Out of, I mean, all the World Cups except for one, and that was before the real professional era really started, was won by the Northern Hemisphere, and that was England. But besides that,
Hmm.
no one else has won the World Cup up north. The closest team to ever come to it is maybe France and England. That's it. In the professional era. Otherwise, it's been South Africa, Australia, New Zealand. Those are the 3 teams you can literally bet on being in the final. Is one of the, or
Agreed.
it's the semi-final. You can kind of put a bit of money on Argentina. They seem to be hitting that point on a regular basis, but it's scary how when you look at the finals since 2011 has literally been one of those 3 or 4 teams has been in the final or the semi-final. 2015, I know for a fact, was all Southern Hemisphere in the semi-finals.
Southern Hemisphere.
2019 was England and Wales, if I'm not mistaken, were the Northern Hemisphere teams. I could be
No,
wrong.
yeah, England beat New
New
Zealand
Zealand,
in the semi-final, and we beat Wales in the semi-final
yeah.
in 2019. Yeah,
Then 2023, the semi-final was England,
and us.
Australia, and us.
Yeah.
Was it Australia? I could be wrong. This is like 2 years ago now. But but yeah, but besides that, it's getting to the point where you're literally watching the teams, and one of them gasses themselves out if they're in the semi-finals. I mean, you look when you played against England, and I still remember in 2019 talking to my wife's boss. He's like, "Oh no, New Zealand's going to go to the final." I'm like, "No, they're not." I said, "It's going to be England." He's like, "Oh, why do you say that?" I said, "Because they're going to put all effort in to beat New Zealand, because New Zealand, of course, is the top of the tier
Hmm.
of playing against international." And I said that will be the best result for us is England winning, because if England wins, we've won. And he goes, "Oh, well, how can you say that?" I said, "No, because as soon as they beat New Zealand, they are going to be gassed. They are going to be empty. They are going to literally be running on fumes." And I mean, you
From
look at
if
what
you
happened.
beat New Zealand, there's only one way, and it's going to be down.
Yeah, especially in a semi-final like that where it's all
Yeah,
out. It's not like a, oh, let's just see what happens in the game, like in a group stage. It was all out. And New Zealand just didn't come back in that game. And when I saw England had won, I was like, okay, cool. Thank you very much. Can start writing our name on that World Cup trophy. And someone's like, oh, no, no. But then that whole discussion, yeah, no, but we've lost a game and no one's ever lost a game and won the World Cup. I was like, yeah, there's a first time for everything. And now it's a common occurrence because both teams in the final of the 2023 World Cup had both lost a game in the group stages.
yeah.
So it's now like a, oh, okay, cool. South Africa's done it. Now New Zealand came close by 1 point. There's a good chance it's now going to be a regular occurrence. Someone's going to lose a game in the group stages, and it's not going to be like, ah, our World Cup's over. It's going to be like, ah, South Africa did it, New Zealand got to the final. Let's go, boom.
It can be done.
Yeah. Oh, but anyway, I think we need to move on. Uh, we will hopefully, oh, well, we will definitely be back next week. Hopefully, Dara might be back next week. But again, to Dara and his family, I will respect thoughts and prayers with you and your family right now. But yeah, my fellow champions, be safe, be good. Cheers.
See you next week.